Hey everybody, so this is a shifter that I worked on a little while back, and I'm going to put a new shift cable in the rear shifter, and then the front shifter was having some issues with the shift levers engaging. So first thing we're going to do on this particular shifter is remove these two little screws there, and this removes the little indicator. Shift indicator shows what gear you're in, and then it allows you to access where the cable hooks up, and then the little internal pieces there. So kind of crusty looking, but that's what it looks like. Went ahead, and you might want to, when you take these off and the little screws, put it in a safe spot there so those won't lose the little screws there. So I'm going to replace the cable here on the rear one. So basically just take the nut off the, or sometimes it's a little Allen hex key, but once that's loose, I usually like to snip the brake wire or the shift wire there and just pull it out from the back and then pull it out of the shifter. But all these issues are pretty common on these bikes from the I think these are kind of from the late 90s 7-speed shifter there. So once that's loose, you just push it out, through the little plastic piece there and pull it on through. You can insert your new shifter. I just used a basic Shimano stainless steel shift cable, and then the newer style. This is a 4mm housing as opposed to the old 5mm. But once I cut them, I like to just open up that little Teflon tube inside of there with a little pick. Makes it a lot easier to slide your cables through, and I just used a little aluminum in ferrules there. So I just matched up the cables to the length of the old ones. If you are missing all that, you can just mock it up on the frame and cut them to length. And I went ahead and lubed up the little paws there, just kind of preventative maintenance here on this. So there's two paws. I just used the Bow Shield T9 lubricant, works pretty well. So just wiped off the excess and put my new cable through there, so it just basically inserts into the little pocket right out through the front there. It's pretty straightforward. And once you just pull it on through, run your cables. I put a little slick honey on the I like to lube them up with some slick honey there. One thing, you got these two little nubs that engage the indicator into the shifter body itself, which it inserts into these two positions. So you always want to, best thing to do is just put it in the number 7 or the hardest gear, and then just basically just want to make sure you got it lined up into the gear that you're going to be in there. So put it in the hardest gear, put it in number 7, you're good to go. Put them back on. So anyway, we had this particular shifter on the front. It would go into the second gear, but it wouldn't quite, the paws weren't letting it push up to the third gear, or the big ring. So took the cover off, and you can kind of see that paw there to the left is the one that's going to engage, and it'll push up the first gear, but then it has to drop down a little bit, and as per normal, that the lubricant's kind of gummed up. I didn't have time to shoot everything I did, but this is from another video I made of just a older rapid fire. It's a similar system. Basically, you got a light spring that pulls that paw down into the little ratchet ring. So in this case, I shot some PB Blaster in there, and this one was pretty sticky. So some are going to be more sticky or gummed up than others, and it's just that old lubricant in there dries out over time, and after 15, 20 plus years, these things have a tendency to dry up like that. So just shot my penetrating lubricant in there, and I just worked the little paw there with a pick until it just snaps right back into place super freely. You can kind of just test it by it should make an audible click as it shifts into each gear there. So this one was a little stubborn, had to work it a little bit, but that's basically what you want to do. Just work that. You can use PB Blaster, the T9 stuff, or WD-40 actually works really well as like something to kind of break the grease loose there without removing the shifter from the bike or anything. Once you get it functioning, I like to, if available, blow it out with some compressed air. And then my favorite lubricant is the green Finish Line wet lube, the foaming, the aerosol spray lube there. This works really well for a good lubricant for these old Shimano rapid fire, easy fire shifters there. So anyway, got that on this particular one. You know, wipe it all down, maybe use a little isopropyl alcohol on the outsides to get all that oil off. Replace your cover and you're good to go. But again, this is the Shimano model ST EF28. Please consider subscribing. Go ahead and leave a comment even if you don't have any questions. Just let me know what you think. And that's going to do it for this time. We'll see you guys next time.